to make a semiconductor, we're talking about designs that are by and large made in the United States, but chemicals from Japan, the purest chemicals in the world, extreme ultraviolet lithography machines from the Netherlands, which are some of the most precise pieces of equipment in the world made by a single company, high bandwidth memory chips from South Korea, which are basically made by 2 companies in South Korea. And then all of that magic happens and the pieces are put together in Taiwan, basically by one company, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, which makes 90% of the world's advanced semiconductors, and 99% of the truly cutting-edge NVIDIA chips that are training the next generation of models.
Yeah, it's wild.
So Taiwan is ahead by 5 years to 10 years. They were ahead by that much 5 years ago, and they will probably be 5 years from now.
If I can give one anecdote, I was in Taiwan a month or so ago, and I was at the TSMC headquarters talking to them. And they pointed out that TSMC was now worth $1 trillion, making it the 6th most valuable company in the world. And the 5 companies more valuable than it all have one thing in common. They are all TSMC clients.
That's right.
Yeah.
The degree of specialization, of expertise, human capital that goes into these TSMC factories is unbelievable. We poured $150 billion into this problem in the Biden administration. We barely made a dent. TSMC, we twisted their arm. We offered them investment, if co-investment, if they would go and build a fab in Arizona. They're right now producing at the 4 nanometer node in Arizona. That's 1 generation behind the TSMC facilities in Japan. Proof that Japan is just better at doing all this advanced manufacturing stuff than we are. And 2 generations behind the leading edge fabs in Taiwan, which are now at the 2 nanometer.
And worth pointing out, because I think a lot of people don't know this, Taipei, the government, has actually mandated that the bleeding edge nodes will never be outside of Taiwan. So, right?
Oh yeah, they're way too smart to let us have the crown.
So Japan,
jewels.
Arizona, et cetera, will always be at least 1 node behind, so that the most cutting edge stuff is not taking place outside of Taiwan. And maybe you could explain the Silicon Shield to, give some rigorous analysis to that.
So Silicon Shield is the term that is sometimes used to suggest, well, if Taiwan makes all the chips and America's dependent on the chips and China's dependent on the chips, well, then they're protected from attack or invasion or any of that, because any one of these scenarios pretty much immediately results in these fabs being taken offline, which means instantaneous global stock market correction. You have 7 companies, all of these tech companies that are holding up 40% of the S&P 500. And what happens when they lose their access to chips? But also the supply chain shock, which means you can't make cars, you can't make smartphones. This is a global recession, if not depression, that hits immediately.
Yeah, Nicholas Kristof from the New York Times has a really great quote. I mean, great in the sense of entirely depressing, but he calls TSMC the only company in world history where if it were to halt production, it would cause a global recession.
Yeah, there's never been a technological revolution in history like this that depends on a resource from just one place. And that means the stakes are high. We don't want these fabs to be taken offline because that's devastating. We don't want them to fall into China's hands either, because right now in the AI race with China, China has real advantages in a lot of areas, but they are bottlenecked by compute.